people are scared to fail, and that's really when you learn.
Even agents that are doing, a lot of business, their feedback is still every deal is tricky.
From a pure business standpoint, the only thing you have control over is what you do. That's all you have.
Well, hello.
Hey.
How are you? Welcome back.
Well, welcome back. Welcome to, this is season 2.
Season 2, here we go.
Season 2 of Signature Insights. Last season, we had some great guests. We had some great people joining us. We kicked it off with none other than the legendary Ted Flight.
Yeah, our father. Yeah, very cool.
That was really fun.
Yeah, he did a
Have
great
good time
job.
talking to him?
We did. We always do.
Yeah.
I bet. Last year, of course, was our 60th anniversary here at Royal Pig Signature. The start of our podcast time together. We had your dad, which was wonderful. We had a bunch of signature agent guests. We had Phil Soper joining us. We had Sean Hildebrand. Our theme and our focus this season is going to be a little bit different, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But first and foremost, of course, we need to talk about what's happening right now in the market, because that's, of course, what everybody wants to hear when they listen to these industry podcasts. What's going on out there?
All right.
And you have been affectionately calling this the anniversary, the 4th anniversary.
Oh, right. Yeah, he loves that. The anniversary.
It's a celebration.
It's a celebration of
The peak of the market.
Of the peak of the market.
Yes.
Of when the peak of the market.
That's right. And some of us would prefer a different word. What's the word you'd prefer, Jeff?
Oh, good question. It's just, I wouldn't call it anniversary, but I would call it, a reminder maybe of when.
Good. I like reminder.
Yeah.
We're going to need your vote.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, really? At the end of the show
good.
today?
On a new word.
Yeah.
Okay.
For celebration.
Not celebration.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Not your favorite, eh?
Oh, my favorite. Now we are seeing, of course, today is we're in the start of April here, and we just had those March numbers come out, and we had a little glimmer of positivity.
Absolutely.
And yesterday on Signature Live, when you did Stats Day, someone came into me afterwards, Chris, and they said, "Man, it doesn't matter what those numbers say. He's gonna find something positive. He's gonna spin it."
There is something. It's not a spin. It's not a spin.
No.
It's a message.
It's a message.
That's right.
Good. They said it doesn't matter what those numbers look like. He's gonna make them sound good.
Well, you have to look for the opportunity in the even in the toughest moments, and that's really what we like to
I
do.
like that.
That's right. So why don't you share with our listeners where we are right now? Look back on the last 4 years.
Yeah, sure. Last 4 years, as we now know, looking back, we came out of COVID, artificially low interest rates, in hindsight, caused record inflation, and real estate came along for that ride, right? Because real estate's highly affected by cost of ownership, which is mortgage costs, right? And they were artificially low, took off like a rocket, and the Bank of Canada had to make some tough decisions and reset things because 8% inflation does not work for anybody.
No.
And so we've gone through a reset, not just our little corner of the economy, large corner of the economy in the real estate industry, the whole country. Layer on tariffs, renegotiation with the U.S. and the effect that that's having on the economy, and people pause their decisions. So of course we've had lower transaction volume, and prices have reset because they artificially increased at a massive, almost 35% in 24 months, from 2020 through 2022. I mean, that is beyond anything that's sustainable. And unfortunately, in hindsight, I think the Bank of Canada would say, we probably kept rates too low for too long, and
That's right.
and we've all had to manage through. But
Readjust.
and then you layer on these issues, the global issues that are happening. Very sadly, the reality we're dealing with right now at this moment in time over in the Middle East, and then of course continue negotiation with CUSMA, as they call it, our trade situation that has to be dealt with, and let's see what happens. But overall, we're seeing some, and my opportunity is if you're on the buy side.
Here it comes.
Right,
Here's
we
the
go.
spin.
Here's the spin.
Here we
Here
go.
we go, everybody.
Here we go.
Get ready. No, it really, truthfully, if you look at, we talk about, like, if you want a little history lesson of real estate, you have to take a step back and look at long-term what real estate has done, not what's going on now. We know why, and the other thing is we know why it's happened. Like, these are the facts. There's This is what happened. The inflation hit. We got carried away with cheap money, and here we are today with the factors I just talked about that have caused the reset. So as a buyer, when do you want to buy? Do you want to buy when there's choice and prices are down, or do you want to wait till they're back up again?
Yes.
As a seller, if you're not comfortable with the price, I say don't sell. Hang on to your real estate. If you own real estate anywhere in the GTA and surrounding area, you own great real estate. So hang on to it. And it's going to be worth more someday.
It will. I think we got spoiled for so long, though. I
Yes.
mean, we had a very good run of
20 years
all
almost.
positive, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we had that small blip with the, global financial crisis that we went through, but that was short. That was a 6-month kind of downturn where agents went, oh my gosh, and then it popped back up again and we all continued on. So 4 years, I think from a business perspective is really, it's tricky
hard.
for some. It's hard. I think it's worth it to acknowledge the fact that it's been tough. Even agents that are doing a lot of business, which we'll talk about in a minute, their feedback is still every deal is tricky. It's not like it's, you get a buyer and it's so exciting and you put a deal together and it's awesome. Every deal seems to be tricky for people. And so 4 years into the downturn, it still feels a little bit tricky. But we are seeing some glimmers of hope.
Glimmers of hope.
Glimmers of hope.
Is that what we're
I'm
calling
learning
it?
the spin.
Yeah, I like
I'm
that.
learning the spin.
Glimmers of
See?
hope. I like that.
I'm learning the spin.
Nice.
Very recently, of course, the government just announced the HST relief for all buyers, not just first-time buyers, on new construction. Of course, whenever these announcements come out, Jeff, they kind of make these big splashy announcements, and then everyone's like, well, what do we do now?
How do we handle
And then the government's like, well, we're going to let you know later. And we're like, great, okay.
Okay,
So
perfect.
what do we know so far about this HST rebate?
We know that it's coming.
Great.
We know that it's essentially
Well, it's
said-
here now.
It's here now. They said as of April 1st, you're going to be able to apply. It's not law yet, but if you've done a transaction April 1st, they will grandfather it into the full rebate program of the full 13%, whether you're a first-time home buyer or a repeat buyer of new construction. So
Or an investor?
Or an investor. Yep, exactly. So it doesn't matter where you are on the spectrum of buying, you are going to take part in that rebate. So right away, you're seeing 13% come off purchase prices. It's attracting people really to get back into having a closer eye. It's putting a spotlight, rather, I guess, on new construction and say, okay, where are those opportunities? I think there are some developers who are more motivated than others,
Excited, yeah.
right? And so they're, diving right in and taking advantage of this. They want to be the first to it, and which is great. I still think they've got a little way to go yet. I think some standing inventory product, there's still some great value buys out there, but it's really about, as we encourage all of our people to really stay engaged in the market. We're talking a lot about this right now to really find those opportunities where the prices have come in line, not only with resale, it's more on the low rise side. Obviously, we're seeing these great opportunities on whether you're looking for a townhome or a semi or a detached, seeing these, the HST come off. We're talking hundreds up to anyways about $130,000 for properties up to $1 million to $1.5 million. You've got this $130,000 immediately that you don't have to have anymore.
Yeah.
That really encourages, okay, well, where does that price land when we're running resale? Well, it's either equal to or maybe in some cases less than the resale market right now. So hence you're seeing some people, some move-up buyers and even some first-time buyers taking a hard look.
Now, there are some specifics to it, right? The deal has to be written after the 1st of April.
That's correct.
And the construction has to start by a certain date, right?
That's correct. Again, on the low-rise side, you have the townhomes. They can be finished in 6 months to a year. They can be built that fast, or the developers are that close to hitting the switch to start construction. But there are those, again, where I think the standoffishness is on the developer side on new condo construction that has not started yet.
Got it.
There's the standing inventory units that do apply for this. So if it's a finished product, a lot of cases, developers held back 10 to 20% of their inventory. There's some great value buys there.
Now, I guess the question for both of you that I think is on everyone's mind is, like, how will this impact the market overall? Is it going to have a big impact? Is it going to impact a small portion of the market? What's your perspective on that, Jeff?
I think great question. So I think over the long term, it's going to have a very positive impact because we need these units to trade. We need these units to get eaten up into this. They need to get into the system. If they're just sitting there, developers need to reapply their capital, get out, buy more land, do more things, build more product. And if they can't sell, if they haven't sold their either standing inventory or started that next project, more units aren't going to sell, and our housing crisis that they keep,
Talking
about is just going to continue.
Yeah.
And it's quite frankly, it's only going to get worse. As many we talk about a lot, there's only approximately maybe 3,000 to 5,000 units will be delivered. New units will be delivered in 2029, where on average we need 15,000 to 20,000 annually to just house the new people that move to the GTA. So if those new units aren't be delivered, we're again going to have that spike in pricing, which isn't healthy.
Big impact or small impact?
I think the jury's out for at least 6 months until we see how consumers take this, react. But that being said, I think I agree with Jeff. I think the standing inventory is the stuff that's really going to benefit. And that's where I see a difference. And of course, the other piece, the other program that has just been announced is the levies. As well. So you've got an additional in the GTA in particular, an additional benefit there because GTA levies are huge. And so, if you get a 50% up to they're saying up to, again, details are a little bit scarce right now at this moment in time.
Big announcement, but
But once if it was, for example, a true 50%, I mean, in Toronto, it could mean another $60,000 ish per unit. Right?
Except that buyers don't need to have anymore. And
So
developers can save, the buyers can save, everything starts to align.
it all helps. And so I think it has some effect, but as we know, the new construction product is expensive right now relative to resale. And so I think that it's worthwhile. I think they're heading in the right direction. What I really take away from it is when both levels of government get involved in real estate this way, it shows you how important real estate is to our economy, to the growth of our country, and their eyes are on real estate. They know that we actually, despite the level of inventory we have right now, especially in the condo market, people think, all these condos are available. 3 or 4 years from now, we're not going to have any inventory.
No.
So it's going to disappear
Quickly.
relatively quickly, right? I mean, that's actually 2-3 years is a pretty quick period of time.
We've been in this downturn for 4 years, and it feels like it's been
yesterday.
Feels like
right?
exactly.
So 2-3 years from now, we're not going to have any new construction being delivered. So now all of a sudden, as we get back to a growth period from an immigration standpoint, we have no new product being delivered. Like that's where we've got a challenge. So I think they're trying to, like Jeff said, shine a light on the new construction product. So people say, maybe we should, get re-engaged and check it out. So I mean, they're doing what they can, I guess. I'm sure there's lots more they could do. I'm not saying one way or the other on that, but at least it's a indication that they're thinking about it.
Very much so. Yeah, very much so. And I think for us, as sales professionals, it just gives us something else to talk about. It gives us another reason to reach out to our clients. It gives us a reason to explain, to your point, this history lesson, but also I think a really cool way to say, let me show you how I can predict the future.
Yes.
Let me show you how I can tell you exactly what's going to happen to the market in 3 years, 4 years, especially on the condo side. This lack of supply we're going to have and what it looks like. And that's why now you're seeing this come. Of course, getting buyers and consumers to get to that point that they feel comfortable making a decision in this environment is really the tricky part because of where we are in the world and all the noise and all the things happening out there. But I like both of your perspectives. Jury's out to see how it's really going to impact things, but it's getting people to pay attention and it's going to help hopefully it's some of that standing inventory. Here, of course, again, segueing into this conversation of what we're doing here as sales professionals, we've talked a lot so far in the first few months of the year in Q1 about proactive communication into your audience and how you need to be doing more if the market is shrinking to achieve the same amount of volume you have.
Absolutely.
What have the two of you seen that's been working? What have you noticed with agents that are finding success this year so far that they've been doing well?
The ones who've, I think, so far this year, I hate to say this,
Here we go.
but the ones who have been successful so far this year grinded the end of last year. They didn't get it. Like they were exhausted. Everybody was, they were battling away. But I mean, right through to call it November through December, they said, I do whatever it takes to keep in touch with as many people as I can. And they have found really a lot of success in this first quarter of 2026. And that was really just, again, picking up the phone, getting in front of people, having the coffees, having the lunches, just doing whatever little thing, whatever little detail. Again, you heard from all these real estate trainers, lots of little things can produce one big result. And it's the folks that put in doing the little things through the balance of at the tail end of last year are seeing the success from right off the hop.
Yeah, I love that. So true.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the bottom line is contact, right?
Yeah.
You have to, especially in a market like this where there's no tailwind, like there's no natural motivation to have buyers and sellers rush out to buy real estate right now. So the ability that we have, based on how we approach helping our clients, which is education, there's been, for anybody that's taken the time on our team to consistently educate their clients as about what's going on in the market, they're finding massive success. So whether it's video CMAs, whether it's market updates, whether it's first-time buyer seminars, whether it's throwing events to connect with people, or just as Jeff said, getting on the phone and just checking in to say, hey, do you have any questions about real estate and what's going on? Or, hey, would you like to know a little bit about what's happened in real estate in the last decade and why we are where we are? Everybody that owns real estate or needs a home, which is everybody, right, likely has questions. They're not likely thinking about you, as they put their head on the pillow every night, but they might be thinking about real estate. They might be thinking about their needs, but they're not reaching out to you proactively. But if you do that on your behalf, if you're connecting with people, we're seeing the results, right?
Yeah.
Very much so. Yeah. I remember Tom Story telling me that it's not hockey that's Canada's pastime. It's actually real estate.
Yeah.
Like that's what everybody wants to talk about, right?
That's
You
right.
go to a cocktail party and you tell them you're a realtor and they're like, I have questions. Like that's what they want to chat about. So I really appreciate that perspective. And I love what you said about the end of the year, because some people might be listening and thinking, well, I wasn't doing stuff at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So now what? Well, that's why
That's
we really
okay.
talk about that cyclical nature of what it is we do. And now, of course, that we're getting into the spring, the weather's getting better. People are getting outside. I find naturally mindset changes at this time of year. So if you weren't maybe as consistent in the fall with those activities, now is a great time for you to kind of buckle down and get yourself a little more focused. You both have heard me talk ad nauseum about building a predictable, repeatable, growing business. And it's been one of our core focuses here, especially this year, because at the end of last year, we knew very clearly that we likely were not going to see a big tailwind this year at all. And so we knew as an organization that the only way for people to continue to build and grow their businesses was going to be to get better and more connected with their audiences. And so that's been a big focus of ours. If you're a signature agent and you've been listening and following along, you'll know every month we have a key focus of what it is we're focused on, which I think keeps people organized and keeps them focused, but it also takes the guesswork out of what it is you're trying to do in your business every day, because we're all busy. We have a lot going on. The world is busy. There's a lot of distraction with our phones and social media. And so here every month we'd have our focus, our skill. So in January, we did the 7 Factors booklet, which Chris co-authored with Sean Hildebrand, which was very well done. I know that was a passion project of yours for a long time. And to your point, an excellent piece of education for consumers. And if you're anything like me and you can't articulate a 45-page booklet, well, we did it for you.
Yeah.
Someone did it for you. In February, we talked about home show tickets, and you made fun of me quite a bit.
Ad nauseum.
Yes. About home show tickets. So thank you for that.
Anytime.
It's like having a big brother that I never wanted or had, but it's good. We talked a lot about home show tickets.
We talked a lot.
You made fun of it.
It's a powerful tool. I will say it is an
Tell me,
incredibly powerful
What did you
tool.
learn in February about home show tickets, Jeff? Tell the fans. Tell the people.
There is no excuse for you not to get in touch with your database with home show tickets. You're giving away free stuff.
It's just the best. It's the best. It's one of my favorites all year. It really is. It's that, and it's your point about December, which I will say as well. If you have the budget, the November, December time period is the time in which you should throw a macro event. And you don't need a big budget. We talked about last year at the end of our first season 1 here on Signature Insights, we talked about hosting family photos as your macro event.
Yeah.
And some people have Santa.
Yep.
If you don't celebrate Christmas, you don't need to have a Santa. But a lot of people celebrate right here in this room, and they bring a photographer. We set up a great holiday set. You bring in some Tim Hortons. That's a very cost-effective macro event. But it is the kind where you can spend November and December calling your people, sending out text messages, bringing them together, hosting the event, sending the photos as a follow-up. It's impossible not to feel connected to your audience. And so we talked about that a little bit last year. But I think in a market like this, we know the only thing that's making a difference to people having success is what it is they're doing, because our friend Tom Ferry says the market's going to market. And it feels like, if we segue into predictions for a minute, it's going to market for a little while longer. So if we're expecting to be in this for another, go ahead, spin it.
No.
Spin it into something positive.
Little while.
Tell us how much longer we're in this.
Look, if
Market.
we, that's the one thing we don't know. It's not if it turns around, it's when it turns around, right? And so, I thought this year we would be better, but I didn't know that we were going to have the worst snowfall on record. And we certainly had no idea that sadly there's a major conflict in Iran right now, and they have not resolved the USMCA or CUSMA or however you want to, whichever acronym you want to use, trade agreement. And so there's a lot of things, and we're dealing with the fact that tariffs still exist in our economy and our communities right now. And so it's hard to know, but the market's going to market, like you said. And so the only thing, and none of that, these are all factors you need to understand why the market is doing what it's doing, for sure. But from a pure business standpoint, the only thing you can do, the only thing you have control over is what you do.
Correct.
That's all you have.
That's it.
So whether it's home show tickets, whether it's, talking to your database on the phone, whether it's door knocking, whether it's connecting, whether it's holding an event, whether it's sharing some market information at the start of the year to educate and position yourself as the professional, as the specialist in the industry, all it is connection. Those are the things that you can control. And that, I was just meeting with a big team this morning and talking about their first quarter. And I said, why don't you think about it this way? On a scale of 1 to 10, reflect on the activities you did in the first quarter, not the results you got, not the number of deals, no, just on the activities about connecting with people, with consumers, and rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. And it's okay. Like, you don't have to tell me what the number is. You just think about it in your head. It's not a shaming exercise or you make you feel bad. It's just like, why not work from a place of facts and information and say, hey, you know what? Life got in the way and I was a 3 relative to how I wanted to approach it from my business plan standpoint that I prepared in November for 2026. And I'm a 3. And here are the reasons why. Okay, great. I was a 9. Phenomenal, right? And I'm going to have a busy second quarter. So assess that, then decide, okay, based on that, what do I have to do in Q2? Because here we are already in the second quarter. Can't believe it.
Right?
And what do I have to do to either reset or to continue on the path that I'm on? And I said to them, why don't you write down your goals on June in your, I'm pretending like I have a device in my hand, in your device, on June 30th. Write down what you would like to have achieved in the second quarter in June 30. Number of contacts, number of people you spoke with, whether you're going to host an event, whether you're going to do video CMA, all the things. Write down some metrics on June 30 right now. Do it right now. And then when June 30 hits and it pops up on your calendar, you're going to have that there and just see how close you got to that, right? And you do these things. These are the things you can control. And if we do them, hey.
What do you think it is that stops people? I mean, we talk about it ad nauseum, as you said. What did you say? You said, yeah, ad nauseum.
Ad nauseum, that's a good word.
For a minute, I thought you
It's
said
our word of the day.
Is it? I thought you were going to say, it sounds like annoyingly, which is, I think, secretly what you mean, but you're not going to say
Not at all.
Why is it that we talk so much about what to do to be successful? Why is it that people don't do it? What stops the
I think it's the intimidation of failure. And I think part of it is that people are scared to fail, and that's really when you learn, right? So if you, what I was just thinking about too regarding those home show tickets, and a lot of people, we did talk about them a lot, and so, which is great, but it got people to the starting gate. And so this year they started, and I can just see them building on it. You know, you see the people that really engage with it. So you're building a business. And so they're diving in this year and they get it going. It's a bit of a bumpy start, but they figured it out. They had a few bumps, a few failures, but they've learned. And now next year, they're going to be even bigger and better. They're going to have even better results from it next year. So again, I think what everyone has to understand is this is a process. As everybody wants to be successful right now, you are building a business constantly and maintaining a business. You've got to do the little things a little better every single time, find those efficiencies, and fail along the way, learn along the way, and every year is just going to, every month, every quarter is just going to get better and better and better.
Good perspective. I know that by talking about things ad nauseum, I know there are people in our audience, in our ecosystem here at Signature, who have to hear it a whole bunch of times.
Yep.
They have to hear me say it. They have to hear other agents talk about it. They have to hear someone say, it's okay that you're nervous to make the calls to offer people home show tickets because you sold someone a house 10 years ago and you haven't called them since. And, you know, I was a realtor for a long time. And so I remember looking at the name being like, oh God, when was the last time I even talked to them? It gets, you know, you
get
feel
busy.
bad.
Life is busy.
Yes.
And you want to do all the things and you want to stay in touch and you feel like you're like, oh gosh, we had such a great, relationship and it was so fun.
Yes.
And I remember we did this and did that. And it's just kind of, life has gotten busy
That's correct.
5 years have gone by.
That's right.
Right.
And so if we can talk about home show tickets ad nauseum and we fill even one extra person with the confidence to go and do it,
Love it.
I will be as annoying as I have to.
Absolutely.
Don't you worry.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about what we have coming up on season 2 of Signature Insights. Do you think that people take our advice more so than the advice of the realtors that work here?
Like listening, like when we bring our realtors on?
Yeah.
I think it's so good. I love having our Signature team come on and present and talk, because the beauty of it is you're hearing from somebody who's doing like we can talk about the activities like we have already today, but to hear, hey, this person took this idea and is executing at a high level and sharing the exact results, the steps, the ideas. To me, I love it. I love those conversations.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's when people see their colleague and they're going, they do what? They're at what level? They're like, if they can do it, I can do that, right? It's just that little extra push, that extra bump to really say, okay, I got it. If they're doing it, I'm doing it. I'm in.
That's right. So this season, we are excited to welcome our Chairman's Club guests as our podcast guests of the show. We were very excited in 2025 to be the #1 Royal LePage brokerage across the country in terms of number of Chairman's Club agents. So this year we were excited to have 20 that made the top 1% in Canada. And so now we have this big group. And so they're really kind of bonding together. They're sharing ideas as well. And so this season, we're going to talk about what their signature move is, what they're doing in this market to grow their businesses. Many of them have had tremendous growth in 2025 by focusing on exactly the things we've been talking about: being connected to your audience, creating video CMAs, staying on top of industry trends, sharing what's going on out there. And so I think there's going to be some really, really great conversations we're going to have this season.
It's going to be great. And I think speaking with that group who they all started at deal 1.
They did.
Right? They all started at deal 1. Whether it was their first deal was a lease, helping somebody find their first place to their first sale. Maybe they sold an investment property to a client. All these things, they've all had firsts. And so you're talking to now, they are now at the top 1% in the industry. So they are clearly driven, consistent, focused individuals, and you'll get to hear what's happening day to day in their businesses. And there's no better conversation to listen in on.
I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah. No, you hear their mistakes. You're gonna learn. It's like
they're always very candid.
Absolutely.
Right?
They love telling their failures. They love talking about when they fail, because it's a lot of times very entertaining.
Yeah.
Right. So, but they're happy to share how they've learned and have where their bumps were along the way.
Yeah, we're going to talk about what they're doing in today's market to be successful, which is going to be some really, really great conversations. We're excited to see you for this season on Signature Insights. Thanks for being here to you both.
Thanks, Sam. It's great.